Midst colds and spluttering, aubergines were discussed, and the merits of said. A plastic chair held on tightly to its contents like a sea eagle with a fish in claws. The eye looked about but was dissatisfied with the view, leaving the bar again. The way forward seemed a harsh choice: make it alone or rejoin with the man. It wasn't sure about either option, the road shimmering ahead of him wistfully. Being an eye, he had no ear to warn him of the rumbling caster's hand snatch. His view suddenly ended, curtailed even, in the walls of the dark enclosed box. Someone felt some small joy at his new eye acquisition, fitted so snugly within. The sledgehammer, feeling coquettish, balanced itself on beer crate at angles. The one-eyed man had no idea his lost eye was no longer free, and did little, mostly watching films where continued disaster struck at one bearded man. Sad, he thought, that a bearded man should be so put upon, even hostile bears. But, of course, the one-eyed man had his own trouble to shoulder, snuffling bad. He braved it, though, with his usual stoicism and stiff upper lip, no moaning at all. In playful mood, the beer crate shrugged its shoulders, drawing in the night. The one-eyed man ran a bath, the finger girl chuckling at her phone update. Pasta bubbled away, as did he in his over-hot bath, scented with Spanish foam. Later, he nibbled on something claiming to be a fruit sandwich sweet in the car. Looking out at the bitter, troubled scene, he felt something was wrong with it, as if the row of houses had been replaced with semi-detached old tombstones. There were some lights on, but not enough to look like civilization was awake. The deep mood of the troubled brickwork was reminiscent of planned prisons. Time passed, and the one-eyed man found himself in a cricket ground, stupefied. He missed his eye and wondered if he should get a marble substitute fake one. People milled about dancing to a 3-part sparkly Motown girl karaoke band. He wondered whatever happened to Kiki D. Was she still in touch with Reg? The stage looked set for bigger things, and the beer crate felt them coiling forth. He looked out with innate wisdom, the melancholy compartments framing air. His was the might of a crate at one with nature, even though he was plastic. Dark, dark, dark. The eye looked and looked, but all was as dark as could be. His small rollings were hampered by the closed-in walls of the closed-in box. He would have called out for help, but all he could do was stare at the darkness, the unblinking sting of injustice, like the otter caught in a net meant for a fish. The scrape of casters rang ominously in a cluttered room like nails on glass. But the eye heard it not. For what is an eye if not a deaf thing that sees it all? Someone had a laugh about a rather poor internet-related pic with statement. He sent it to a few friends on email, but they didn't read it for fear of viruses. Outside, the rain fell like needles dropped from an aeroplane in an experiment. A puddle formed above a railway line. Would the dam break and flood tracks? Streetlights sadly shimmered like orange mini-stars in a smaller type universe. The beer crate spat out some old chaff. His sides rippled like a fire engine does. Without prior warning, the sledgehammer leant on him playfully, trying to bond. The Moorish style would not leave them dumbfounded or crestfallen. Not they. The one-eyed man and his top girl had a dinner party to end all dinner parties. The guests assembled with their own eccentricities of manners and movement. The chat was of interest to the beer crate, but he didn't let on his ear wigging. There was some tension as to the potato gratin, its uber coolness being ready. But it came good, as did the bell pull, which could fox many with its deafness. Teddy Bear's shoes didn't throw the knight a curveball or even a dazzled gravity, but shone out with the strange colours made only in the East or thereabouts. The cheesecake tried in vain to be a sorbet. There was much juggling upstairs. The prophet looked up at the can, saying the words of dread once more slowly. "Beware the Nova-Sphinx, for there is no hiding from its pervading recognition." But still the bird, chirping dark, went on as if it couldn't give a fig leaf's hoofprint. Incessant tapping and banging stole the sleep from the one-eyed man. Woken, he thought about idly investigating, but knew it would be far too dangerous. The stark, cold day was no place for a sweet, well-dressed young man like he. On went the banging, on and on, like one of those political people in the pub. Meanwhile, someone walked out to the cheap supermarket, cast a scraping. Plenty of bargains were on hand in the defenceless morn, pre-packed curries. But the daytime zombies marched about. There was no peace for their brains. The beer crate saw the benefit of company beginning to stretch his horizons. A group of starlings flew past a window pretending to be hovering black bats. A window soon to be replaced by rubbish plastic hermetically sealed things. There was some talk about the merits of the tie press in today's bleak society. All the while the eye continued to stare at the dark recesses of the airless box. He thought about an anagram of Socrates and other Greeks to pass the time. But nothing could take away the dull despair and disappointment of his box life. The beer crate stayed resolute against change as the sledgehammer wandered. All life was tinted in that colour that only happened in the early English 60s. But this was just a passing fancy for the one-eyed man, who saw through it all, but only with one eye, while his girl was out macarooning with her spoon band. There was, of course, much science about in the icy land, but clearly it was dated. What happy thoughts we had in days of yore, someone thought, while listing. He had forgotten all about the Protect and Survive pamphlet and AIDS iceberg